Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. This question has been circulating sports media for a very, very long time. Who's allowed to have an opinion? Who should have an opinion? Now, most recently, before we get into the pro wrestling side of things, we've seen this happen most recently on ESPN with Ryan Clark and Peter Schrager. Ryan Clark is a former NFL football player. Peter Schrager is not. He is just an NFL analyst, and he makes some sort of comment or take on a game, and Ryan Clark basically diminishes his take because he's a non-player, and then goes on to get a little more awkward, and that sort of opinion has been peddled for a very long time. You can't have an opinion on this because you've never done it. Well, some of the greatest analysts in all sports, some of the greatest GMs or coaches or whatever the case may be, never played at a super high level in that sport. They've just studied it, analyzed it, and can make really good decisions about certain things. So basically, every person on the planet can have an opinion. That's the power of free speech if we live in America. But whose opinion should we trust? Should everyone have an opinion about certain subjects? Right, nowadays, you can just grab a mic and have a podcast, and you can talk about literally whatever you want. And so this moves us into the pro wrestling space. Pro wrestling is usually is a predetermined sport. So those that talk about things or analyze things or do reactions to things are awesome because you can have an opinion about whatever you want when it comes to pro wrestling. And so it's interesting to see that when someone like Stevie Richards, who spent about 10 years at a major company, has been wrestling for a very long time, has a shitload of experience, and you would consider Stevie Richards an expert in the sport of professional wrestling, has an opinion on Kyle Fletcher, who works for AEW, who's a wrestler for AEW, who's basically at this point being primed to be the next top star, gives an opinion on Kyle Fletcher. Most people don't like that opinion, and now he's not even allowed to have an opinion. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you look at Bully Ray as well. Like, Bully Ray is one of the best tag team wrestlers of all time. He's very articulate with his words. He has, very good, stark opinions about certain things. But yes, sometimes he does shit on certain subjects or certain companies or certain segments and doesn't like it. And then once they shit on the thing that you like, now that opinion becomes invalid. And so Stevie Richards had good ideas until his opinion was something that you didn't like. Now he has bad opinions and shouldn't be able to give his opinion whatsoever. If people like Stevie Richards and Bully Ray can't have opinions on professional wrestling, then literally no one is allowed to have an opinion on professional wrestling. We just have to say that everything is good all the time, no matter what. That's not the point. That's not the point of sports media. If I watch an NFL game and I think Josh Allen played like shit, I'm allowed to say that. Now, is it nice? No, but it's not coming from a malicious sort of way. I'm not saying Josh Allen should quit playing football. He should die and never play again. That would be horrible, unnecessary, and that would be bad. That's not what we want to happen. Yes, fans and analysts and people who give their opinions always take things too far. But if we just do our job the way we're supposed to, saying Josh Allen underperformed tonight, that's why the Bills haven't made it to the Super Bowl, that's an opinion. That's me analyzing the game and saying that's my opinion on the game, on Josh Allen, and what potentially could have happened. Yes, it's all Monday morning quarterbacking. We're not actually in the arena doing the thing. But those have been in the arena can understand those dynamics a little bit better, but it doesn't mean they're the only ones that have to have an opinion. A former quarterback is not the only person who's allowed to say Josh Allen had a bad game. Someone who's studied the NFL, really analyzed it, been doing this for years, like has an understanding of the game, the X's and O's, definitely have a very valid and important opinion on that subject. Same thing goes with professional wrestling. I started wrestling in 2015. So I have 10 years of wrestling experience. Yes, I've taken a few years off, but I've been watching wrestling since I was 13. I can understand what a good match and a bad match is. I understand the psychology of a match, how to put matches together, what that makes sense, how it makes sense. And all Stevie Richards was saying was that, Kyle Fletcher could use a little bit more seasoning. He could use a little bit more seasoning. And the two people on the Stevie Richards podcast were just saying that they appreciate old school wrestling a little bit more. That's not how Kyle Fletcher goes about his business. And they wish he would do a little bit less. And they wish that he would do a little bit less and make it make more sense. And I don't disagree with those opinions. I absolutely love Kyle Fletcher. We spent some time together on the independents when I wrestled in Manchester, and he was there with his tag team partner. Like, I really, really like Kyle Fletcher, and I think he's a future star. And I think if AEW does a good job, he can be a star. Or he's going to leave AEW, like Stevie Richards says. He's going to go to NXT, really get his seasoning there, and going to be a star in WWE. But now, since people don't appreciate and like that take from Stevie Richards, they no longer think he should have an opinion at all, which is ridiculous. Ridiculous. He spent 10 years at a major company. Bully Ray has been in the wrestling business for like 50 years or something crazy. He can have an opinion. If you disagree with that opinion, say why. State your facts. State also your opinion. State your reasoning behind yourself. Don't just say, oh, that person shouldn't have an opinion anymore. I can't believe like all these old dusty vets just get on a podcast and just shit on the younger talent all the time. In my experience, I just don't see that. A lot of times they're just giving advice or giving their opinion or saying this is what they would have done or saying how they would have approached it or saying how the times have changed in the last 10 years about how they would have approached it 20 years ago or how they approach it now. Like, that's the whole point of sports media. We're analyzing things and giving our opinion on it. And if you say someone can't have an opinion, you're the issue. You're the issue. Fans go on all the time in the internet wrestling community and just say whatever they want about things. Some fans say outrageous stuff. Some fans have terrible takes. Some fans don't even know what they're talking about whatsoever. But they're allowed to have that opinion. That's the whole point of being able to discuss and build a community around something that you love. So if you see Stevie Richards or any other former professional wrestler or any other former WWE guy on a podcast, they're allowed to have that opinion. You may disagree or agree with that opinion, but never, never, ever should you be shutting down their ability to have that opinion. And so just because you don't like something or don't agree with it doesn't mean it should be removed from the internet. That's an insane take, and that's not how this whole that's not how this whole freedom of speech thing works, especially nowadays with this media landscape that we're in. And so that's what I have to say about that. So please let me know what you think in the comments down below, and then subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.